All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. And of course, thanks for subscribing. We are back with FSD 12.5.1.5 Hardware 3, taking it for another spin in some uncharted territories. For us, we're going to go downtown to a more of a downtown area, just again, replicating what New York City might be like. And we're going to another train station. So we're going to go to an event hall to pick up someone, then go up to the train station to potentially pick up someone else, and then make a final destination stop just to see what that's like. Okay, so we know the issues, we know some of the problems, we know some of the pitfalls right now with 12.5.1. They've halted the rollout, so they're probably going to make some adjustments and tweaks in order to resolve some of the issues they had. But in the meantime, we have it, so we're going to go ahead and use it. In this instance, I'm going to change the profile to average as opposed to assertive, because assertive was a little bit too assertive. And the reason why I didn't change it in the last drive is just because we started the drive that way. It made no sense to change it midway through. Let's start from finish to end with a set profile. So we're going to do that now. Okay. I'm going to go ahead here and engage from the shoulder. Hopefully it works this time. And it does it. Probably because there we go. Still not engaging. I'm going to give it some accelerator to get going. And we're off. Again, average profile here, FSD 12.5.1.5, hardware 3. Please car and bus. Bus does not have the active sign on, so we're going to go right around it, which is the right behavior to do. If it had its stop sign out and active and lights on, the car would adhere to that. Pedestrians crossing. Slows down nicely. And resumes. Looks to make a lane change. Nice and smooth. Some rough roads ahead here. Hopefully it can go a little bit slower here just to some debris kicking up. It's biasing towards the left side of the lane for some reason. I know the lane lines are a little bit faint here, but it's biasing towards the left side of the lane, which is pretty interesting. So far, for me, the attentiveness monitoring has been pretty good on 12.5.1. It started off pretty aggressive, but it's actually gotten better over time. I don't know if that's something that happens where it sort of has a break-in period or a burn-in period, but it's been pretty good so far. Again, after that initial sort of go round. Two lanes will be bearing to the left. It could get in the left lane, but it's going to stay in this lane, which is fine. No indecisiveness as of yet. This is more of an urban area and getting into more of a denser urban area and more of a downtown area as we proceed to the event hall. I'm gonna stop it here. I don't think it understood that this light you can't go to. Car attempted to proceed indirectly through the red light. I know a couple of you have responded to that and said that you had issues where it's run some red lights. I think that's also might be an issue with this particular build. It's happened to me once where it kind of just wanted to go through. In this instance, it had a split with a green light and a red light to the right, to the left. I think it was queuing off that green light and not off the light here. And they're at weird angles. I make no excuses for it, but they're at a weird angle as well. So maybe that kind of threw it off. But definitely something to be addressed. Hopefully Tesla gets those clips and can take action. And again, as always, you guys are in control. You guys are supervising, so you're responsible. So you see a situation going south, don't just wait to see what the car is going to do. Take over. I could see it was going way too fast, and even if it was going to stop, it was going to stop so abruptly. It was going to be very uncomfortable, and potentially put us in a situation where we're further into the intersection than we need to be on the red light. So I just stopped, took over, and avoided the situation. So big ding here in terms of confidence, big ding in terms of decision making, and big ding in terms of safety on this first drive here. Pretty rough roads we're going through right now, and we have coming up. So lots of rough camera shaking. Hopefully the camera stabilization can kick in and help it, but it's pretty rough. Good job avoiding this truck up here. There's no lane lines on this road, but it did a good job of signaling just to state its intention to get around this truck right here. And sometimes two cars try to pass, at the same time and assume that there's a lane line, but there actually isn't. Only when you come to the intersection there is one. But so far so good on these unmarked roads, and so far so good in any unmarked roads I've driven with 12.5.1.5. It's been pretty rock solid. Good job visualizing, if you can see here, where all the lane lines are, as well as the signage for the turn versus straight. Not as visible with the human eye, just based on the wear and tear of the street, but it's done a good job of representing that there. You might be able to see the faint hint of it there. So one of the questions I get asked a lot about is retrofitting hardware 4 to hardware 3. And just to be clear, this is, sort of Tesla's stance on it, is that hardware 4 is not just the computer, it's the cameras too. And with the cameras come the harnesses for wiring for those cameras and the new, hardware computer itself. So it's not as easy as just swapping out the board or swapping out the cameras. You have to actually update the harnesses. And from my understanding, that's a cost prohibitive situation for Tesla right now, where it becomes very expensive to do that. And therefore it doesn't make sense to do that. If it costs, $10,000 to do that, it might not be worth it to everyone to be able to make that upgrade. So that's where I think they're going to have to be very creative. And I'm watching very closely here in that corner. Good job taking your time. But, it's very interesting to see that they're actually making progress from a software perspective and investing there to optimize their code to make it work on that hardware versus trying to do hardware retrofits for the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of cars they have on the road that are hardware 3. They are the majority right now. So hardware 4 is still a minority by a significant amount based on the cars that they have on the road today. So it makes sense for them to be able to do what they need to do. Good strong braking. But again, you saw it coming, so you kind of should have slowed down sooner. I saw it coming. But yeah, they're not going to make that decision. And they're not going to say, hey, we're going to just give retrofits to everyone for free. They're not going to even undertake the effort of retrofitting. Retrofitting is something Tesla really does not want to do. In very rare instances, they'll mention that they can retrofit something or update something. But in most cases, when they can actually retrofit something like the yoke and retrofit it to the new yoke that's, more resistant to peeling, they're not going to mention that, right? So they don't want to have to go to that level of effort. It bogs down their service centers with, what they consider an unnecessary service visit that doesn't, is not preventing you from driving your car, but it's more cosmetic. So they don't want that. They would prefer the service to be just for things that address you staying on the road. And that's why you can't really talk to anyone easily. You can't really communicate to anyone easily because they want to just try to keep the lines as clear as possible. Not the best service experience as a result of that, but I understand what they're going for there. I've been there from the beginning when service was very sparse. Thought about it, but it's out there now. It's got to go. Got to commit and go. Still a little aggressive. So I think it doesn't matter whether it's assertive or not. It's just getting out there. If it wasn't going to go, it should have waited, on the right side of the correct side of the road, and then made its move when it was clear. But yeah, as I was saying, service has come a long way to being very attentive to everyone and giving everyone all their attention, and then being overwhelmed by the volume of cars, especially when Model 3 hit, that they just couldn't keep up, and they had to change the model up a little bit. So long story short, retrofitting is probably not going to happen, and probably is not something that Tesla enjoys doing. So they'll probably have to make their investment on the software side and make sure that it can work from the software perspective. I did notice, and a lot of people have reported, that they're starting to remove some of the older blog posts that say your cars are equipped with all the hardware necessary for full self-driving, when, clearly that might not be the case. But again, it's going to be on them to be able to make that right. So that's why I said, don't worry about it if you have hardware 3. They're going to make it right. They're going to, do right by it. Good job slowing down for the pedestrian. So it kind of just wants to go. They need to dial that back down a little bit. Interesting signal. One going straight, one going right. Right is green. It can go. Good job recognizing and going. good mile an hour right now as opposed to the area we were in before. And I think it's area specific. Like your experience is going to be area specific. So if you got a great experience, it's based on where you are. If you got a poor experience, it can be based on where you are. It's not so much your car, it's more about where you are or where the car is and what it decides to do. So great mile an hour over on the auto offset right now. 2 miles an hour over to the flow of traffic. That's great. Definitely a little bit more egregious last time with the 38 and the 25, but now it needs to stay just laying the right way. Good job getting over just as I say it. Makes me look good. But yeah, it needs to start to be a little bit more predictive and use the features and functionality that it has as an advantage over humans to be able to do that. Meaning it knows it needs to go straight. It knows the map information, so it should be able to act accordingly. And if not, it can see further down the road and be able to make that interpretation. Good job signaling. Those people just went over, or at least that person signaled, the other one didn't. But good job signaling in all accounts. Getting around and getting back in the lane you need to be in or you want to be in. That's great. I appreciate the slowdown for the bumps there. That was pretty cool. I don't know if it was the bumps itself or it was the car creeping forward that caused it to slow down, but I can appreciate it nonetheless. Red turn arrow, so we should not proceed here. Strong stop when it didn't need to be, but it's a left turn arrow. Hopefully it recognized that. So interesting, light situation here that it needs to be able to recognize and adhere to. Definitely messed up the last one. This one seems to be staying the course for now. It's kind of inching up and wanting to go, and now it's going to go, and it went the wrong way. So I'm going to flag that one just so I don't disengage. This is a scenario where it went the wrong way. It went the way that the navigation did not say to go. The navigation wanted to go down that road. It wanted to go straight, and it decided to go straight. Now, this has always been a problem for those just watching. We've taken this route before. It's done the exact same thing for many, many versions before. So this is just something that they have not simply fixed. And when you have a scenario where the car goes a different direction, whether it's on the highway or city streets, than the map data, then the issue might be the map data. There might be issues with the map data. Just trying to get over here now, but person's not letting me through. I'm okay with that because the school is out and the cars are double parked, so it doesn't matter. Gets over into the lane. I prefer going this way. It's a little bit more complex, a little bit more interesting, but it's the map data that's could be causing the issue. I'm not going to say it definitely is. It could be. So something to consider instead of just say, hey, it's the car. Just full self-driving sucks because it can't follow the directions, and maybe it's the map data that's wrong. I need to kind of tight here. You see those arcs going off for the last time here, but that was kind of tight. Again, that aggressiveness, that assertiveness is a little bit unsettling at times like that. Very, very, very tight. Very bad roads here. Gee, almost got air on that one. Very hard stop behind this person. Very aggressive. I can't say it enough. I think that might be the reason why the rollout has been paused. But this is just overly aggressive. I'm on average still. I believe I am. Let's just check. Average still. So this is why I chose this time of day. Dense urban traffic, similar to New York City. More traffic than normal. I know people complain about the traffic when I do my drives. It's just to avoid situations where we're just sitting in standstill traffic. I know you guys want me to go to New York in rush hour, but if you're not from here, you got to know that New York rush hour is literally like, I guess, the 405 in Cali, or the whatever that highway is in Dallas that just gets jammed up, and you just don't go anywhere. We're just sitting around in a tunnel or on a road for hours and hours on end, and the video is going to be like an hour and 45 minutes long or 2 hours long, however long it takes me to get to the traffic. That's not very exciting. That's not very challenging to FSD, just sitting in stop and go traffic for hours and hours on end, and it really doesn't prove anything. I like to have a good moderate a bit of traffic like that's here right now, that's still moving, still progresses the trip, and we're not stuck for a long time. In New York City, we're at this light right now, for 2 passes. The first pass we were at, we didn't make it through the first time. This is the second time. We'll make it through the second time, hopefully, but that's it. In New York City, we'd be waiting 4, 5, 6 times before, we're able to get through the light, and that's just not exciting at all. We would just be fast forwarding the whole time. So I got to choose the right times to get to New York City, and I got to make sure that it's interesting and compelling, and the car can actually drive and not just sit in bumper to bumper traffic. Kind of stuck out here in the intersection, taking his time, slow and methodical. Those people are doing extreme measures to get around. I don't think the car will do that, but let's see what happens. Got the green light, now we can go. Lots of unmarked lanes funneling into more distinct lanes. Bus trying to get over. Car slows down. Person behind us is not too close, so a sharp turn or sharp braking, followed by a good maneuver. Now it needs to get over to the far right. Actually doesn't need to get over to this lane because there's a lot of parked cars ahead, and this is the perceptive nature that I wish the car had. I could see it, maybe you could have caught a glance of it, but behind this bus are a bunch of parked cars that make this lane that we're in unusable. So everyone's going to have to go around those cars getting into that lane. So therefore, if I'm driving and I see that ahead of time, I'm just staying in that lane. Bus can't do that because the bus has to go to its stop, and this was a bus stop. It needs to go past the bus stop just in case. But now everybody's going to get over and get around these lanes in a very awkward manner as I start to encroach and this person's there, and it's just, see that? It's just very odd. Turning right in some pretty tight streets here. Let's see what happens here. Car illegally parked, goes nice and slow around it. Person dawdling in the street, even though there's plenty of sidewalk. Extremely close. Look at the arcs for proximity here. Look at the cameras for proximity. Those will be your indicators of how tight we're in right now. This car looks like it's getting out, so hopefully it can get out and we can proceed. Make another turn on another tight street. Not so bad. This one's a little bit wider, actually. So in these tight quarters, it uses that abundance of caution, is more methodical, which is great. But in free-flowing areas, that's where it's extra aggressive. And that's where, it needs to be dialed down a little bit or dialed back a little bit. But Pedestrians creeping up, don't stop for them, keep going. Very good. Person crossing, cut him off and go. That's the level of assertiveness we need. Nothing more than that. Crossing multiple lanes with signal on. Excellent job. And now we wait at the light. Great job. Great job. So I'm going to make this left, and then I'm going to make the right as the navigation guidance suggests. And then I'm going to cancel after we make the last right and go to the next stop, which will be the actual train station. So downtown, metropolis, if you will, or mini metropolis, urban area, testing out FSD, seeing how it does, warming it up for New York City, and nice, bright, sunny conditions. Can't complain. Scooter and pedestrians, good job anticipating their flow and movement and trajectory and getting around them. Police officer turning, he didn't even signal the right way. Now we're going to pretend to pull in here. I'll stop here just so I can edit the trip. I'll take the turn signal off here and then go here. So I'll go here, I'll resume, and just go. So that was the end of the first trip. That's not me disengaging for any reason, but just the end of the first trip. I could have probably done it a little bit sooner, but the police officer, the motorcyclist was hot on my heels. So I definitely wanted to make sure I didn't keep going and then pull into that parking lot either. So pretty good. We can't turn here. It doesn't see that. I might need to disengage properly here because it doesn't see that there are barricades there. And by the time it does see it, we'll probably be in the middle of this situation. So let's see what happens. I'm going to just reroute it automatically. So I stopped doing that. Keep going. There we go. Barricades are there. You might not be able to pick it up on camera, but that street is blocked off. Let's see what it does here. Short window here. We can probably make it. And we made it. We're blocking a little bit, but we made it. Oh, big pothole, but thank you for going slow. Now we should get over. Signaling nicely. Great job there. Great maneuver. I had to put the air on. Camera's getting a little toasty here in this nice sunny day. So hopefully this can help mitigate some of the heat issues with the camera. And also keep you nice and cool, but maybe the extra wind noise. All right, here we go. We're gonna make a right, then a left, and then we'll be right in the throes of the train station. And understanding what that experience is like. Good job getting over. No turn on red. Sorry about that, guys. It is still getting hot. Camera is overheating. It does not know how to make this. No, I guess it does know how to make this turn, but I didn't know this was a turn. Good to know. I'll resume it. Car knows better than me. But it needs to proceed straight from here. But again, just a little bit of a camera overheating issue. Trying to keep it cool, or as cool as possible. I'll actually cut it off on these intersections and resume once it stops. All right, so a little bit of a weird situation where it kind of preemptively ran the light with the people here, or maybe there's a light that they could see in certain lanes. I don't know. That was interesting. I did flag it, but I was able to record the camera in time at the train station. So we're here. I'm gonna go ahead and remove it. Oh gee, if I can remove it. And then done. So we're here, effectively here, pulling over. So that's cool. So we got there. Now we're going off to our next destination, which is not too far away. So hopefully that moves quicker. Now before we had an issue with this curb where it kind of course corrected. Now it made a nice smooth turn this time. So that's a good improvement over the last time. We have a short deadline merge coming up. Just past these lights up here. Short deadline merge where it has to kind of jump over to the next lane, to this right lane. It'll stay in this lane to the last minute, jump over and get over, which it did successfully last time, but probably should have done that sooner. Hey, maybe we have improvements here right now. Good job. So now it just needs to get over one lane, which is the right way to be, and go from there. All right. We have a turn here. Okay. I'll take it. Curb looked a little suspect. Let's go into our next destination here. We may go through a school zone, an active school zone. If that's the case, I will take over and stop just out of an abundance of caution and just for the fact that there are a lot of kids who like to run across the street over here at this time. But we might be a little early. I think it's before 3 o'clock. We might be okay. But we do have this cross here that's on a busy street that we have to get over. And you see the people ahead of us taking a long time because it's hard to get over. Or they're not doing anything. What are you guys doing? FSD didn't beep, I did. They've fallen asleep at the wheel. Missed a golden opportunity. Now we've got more traffic. So this is kind of tough because people park on the corners, so it's kind of hard to see. The car will have to creep out significantly to be able to see, plus the pedestrians crossing. See that? Very aggressive and assertive. That is what it wants to be. No cars coming to the left now. One car coming to the right and a pedestrian in front of us. Is it going to make it? Nice. Good job. Calculates his trajectory and keeps going. Doesn't slow down, which is great. And we have this odd school zone where cars are double parked all the time, causing you to go around them in very odd ways. See how it handles it. Very good. Excellent job, and I'm glad we missed the school outing. We're probably 15 minutes early for that, which is great. School's right there. Car's double parked. It may not recognize that. I don't think it does because it's getting awfully close to it. And it's just out there. No hazard signals on or anything. So this is a scenario where I might as well just take over and call it a day. All right, so that's it. That's it for this drive. I'm just going to keep driving just because I didn't disengage right here. Because this car is double parked like no one's even in the car at all. So that wasn't good, but that's it. So with that said, this was a decent drive. Wasn't the greatest. It was a decent drive. And, you know, in terms of my level of confidence, it basically had a good level of confidence, but obviously took major dings for the situations where I had to disengage, for the situation where I tried to run the red light, things like that. So it wasn't the most confident it's been, but it did exude some levels of confidence, even in just going slow and methodical, which I appreciate. In terms of comfort, same deal. Big ding on trying to run the red light. Big ding on, you know, trying to do things that seemed a little unsettling to me in the car. So not the highest levels of comfort either, right? In terms of safety, another ding. Safety, I didn't feel safe with it trying to run that red light. I knew it was going to try to run it. I was able to at least recover and be in a situation where I could stop it from running the red light, so that's great. But otherwise, you know, not the greatest. Not following the navigation guidance, right? Also was, you know, not a safety related issue, but it just made me feel uncomfortable that, hey, where are you taking me? Sort of like how if a driver is driving in a certain direction, or if on your Uber app or whatever app, it says go that way and the person goes straight, it's like, hey, where are you taking me? So I feel a little uneasy about that. Okay. Decision making, same deal. That was poor decision making to go straight when the navigation guidance said to go left. Not great. Poor decision making to try to run that red light when it was clearly a red light. However confusing it might have been. So small things right like that just knock it down a notch for me in regards to this particular drive. This drive, not the whole drive, not all the drives, not the entire build, but just this drive. Also, the assertiveness, levels of assertion that it exuded was also not great, right? Sometimes it was very aggressive, sometimes it wasn't. Areas where I thought it should be aggressive, it wasn't. Areas where I didn't think it should be aggressive, it was. So that wasn't great either. Okay, so overall, I think it was a good drive. It got us from all of our points to where it needed to go. But I think the major issue here is just going to be the assertiveness, aggressiveness, and then again, not following navigation guidance, and in certain instances, being permitted to run a red light is definitely not a good thing. So with that said, I think I'm going to give this this particular drive a 3, and bordering on a high 2 or 3. So still taxi level driver of experience. So if you've ever been in a taxi or New York taxi, it kind of felt like that. Just a wild, crazy ride, not the most comfortable, not the most smooth, bordering on an Uber X driver, which can be varying levels of skill and attentiveness. Probably wasn't that bad, but definitely more towards the taxi cab drivers. So let me know your thoughts on this drive. It's kind of going down and down and down every time I drive it, and getting worse and worse and worse. So probably why they paused it, just to make it a little bit better. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Oh, by the way, this will probably be my last drive on this car, this Hardware 3 car. So I'll still have a Hardware 3 car left, but next time you see me, we'll probably be testing out 12.5. something on Hardware 4. But until the next time, enjoy your day, enjoy your Tesla.